Let's talk about the storyline. White Sox. Jerry Reinsdorf, according to the Chicago Tribune, is entertaining offers to sell majority control of the White Sox. The team that lost 101 games 2 years ago and lost a record 121 this year, and the fans are probably cheering on the south side of Chicago. You're not going to believe who's interested in the White Sox. The group is known as Smoke 34. That's their corporate name.
Smoke 34.
The group is headed by legendary Major League pitcher Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart is
Really?
part of a Nashville consortium. He's the point man, the front man, the baseball identity man, going to make a bid on the White Sox. Now, Dave Stewart has also thrown his support behind getting a Major League expansion team for Nashville. He's been front and center with that group, but now Smoke has already talked to Jerry Reinsdorf.
Interesting.
That would be fascinating. He's got the money people behind him. Dave Stewart's got a great, quote, baseball reputation as a player and as a former agent, and now as a business entrepreneur.
And a GM.
So keep that story on your front and center. Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Sports Authority, which is involved with the Suncoast Dome Tropicana Field, has said the stadium is going to have to be shut down for at least 6 months if they're going to be able to make repairs to the infrastructure and the all-new tiling on the artificial roof. The Rays don't have a place to play on opening day. 6-month construction project. That's item one. Second item, who's going to pay the $51 million to replace all the panels destroyed by the hurricane at Tropicana Field's roof? Third question, where are they going to go play? They have sent their baseball people to Port Charlotte, which is 90 miles south of Tampa. That's their spring training headquarters. And they're looking at the Port Charlotte Spring Training Stadium, but it's not big enough and it's not Major League ready. And the union gets input as to where we're going to allow our players to go play. That's an issue. They've also made contact across the state and up the coast to Orlando, talking about playing in their minor league stadium. There's also been ideas floated. Maybe they split games early in the season that used to be at Tampa Bay, and they play some in Nashville and maybe some in Portland. In other words, they become a road team for maybe 2 months of the season while the renovations and the repair continue at Tropicana Field. So they're in a world of hurt. There's also been an idea that's been floated. Let them move home games early and split it at Marlins Stadium with the Miami Marlins. I'm not sure the Marlins want that. I'm not sure who the hell goes see the Rays, much less the Marlins, because baseball support has really been lagging in the Sunshine State. So Tampa's got huge problems. I mean, it's not even November 1st, but this looks like the game plan that they're going to have to go find a place to play for at least the first 2 months of the season, if not longer than that. And then the other thing from the Tampa perspective, if you're going to tear that stadium down within 2 years when the Rays move the other side of the bridge to play in St. Petersburg in a shiny new stadium, why would you spend $51 million right now in Tampa to repair the roof if you're going to tear the sucker down in 2 years? So it's quite an issue. Third topic, Dodgers. Dodgers Padres. That last playoff game, all-time record TV viewership in Japan.
Okay, I believe that.
The game was at 11 a.m. Tokyo time on the next morning, even though it was here on the West Coast. 12.8 million viewers in Japan.
Really?
All-time record for any major league telecast. Why? Showtime. Why? Yamamoto versus Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
It was the numbers are staggering. Prior to that game, the highest viewership ever for a Major League Baseball game happened to be an Ohtani appearance, 8.9 million. But this was 12.9 million the next day in Tokyo.
Wow.
Just amazing. And then the other item as it relates to the Dodgers, big debate. Dave Roberts not want to talk about it. The analytics guy should consider it. You got Ohtani batting .000 with nobody on base in the playoffs. He's 0 for 22. With men on base, He's 7 for 9 in the playoffs, 778.
Wow.
Begs the question, and Dave Roberts did not want to answer it today, didn't want to answer it last night. Why is Ohtani batting leadoff? I know Dave Roberts is of the theory, I want him to get 5 at-bats every game. But if he's not hitting as a leadoff guy when there's nobody on base, and he's hitting the hell out of the ball when men are on base, why not drop him in the lineup? Drop him to 3. Drop him to 4. Because you got to believe that if you put Will Smith in front of him or Mookie as a leadoff guy, Freeman in front of him, those guys are going to get on, and then he's swinging the stick with men on base where he's hitting 778 in postseason with guys on base. So that's an interesting discussion point as it relates to the Dodgers. And to the Padres. Burning question in the offseason, after we sort out the roster that we've already proposed, what do you do with Arise? Leadoff hitter? Nickel and dime hits? Is he better positioned somewhere else? Who would be your leadoff hitter if you don't want to rise swinging at everything at the top of the batting order? Would it be Jackson Merrill as a legitimate leadoff hitter? What direction would you go if it's not Arise and not Kim, if Kim is indeed gone from here? Interesting questions. So, John, you got the Blight Sox, you got the homeless Rays, you got all things Dodger baseball, and you got the Friars. The floor is yours.
Oh my God, there's a ton there. Okay, so White Sox, I'm pleased that there's potentially new ownership. Dave Stewart, he's a local here. In fact, my son played Little League with his son when they were 10 years old, and Dave Stewart would show up at the field. And I think the team mom's still hound dogging him for money. But at any rate, Dave Stewart, local guy, loved to see him have success. And it was interesting how he wanted to be an assistant GM with the Padres, and they kind of pigeonholed him to be the pitching coach because he wanted to be in management. And darn it, he's getting in management. That's good. The Rays, I don't know what to say. I mean, they got to find a new stadium. I'd be surprised if Orlando or Port Charlotte, how those local stadiums did, because those hurricanes should whip the hell out of those places.
Well, none of those were damaged. But at the end of the day, you're not in Tampa, St. Pete. Port Charlotte's 90 miles south. That's their spring training headquarters. And by the way, now granted, this would be in the spring. It would not be in the heat of July or August, we don't think, unless they don't repair Tropicana Field. But, I don't think the Union wants their guys playing night baseball in Port Charlotte in June, July, August, which is bloody hot and humid. And by the way, there's a hell of a lot of rain down there. So, the Rays got a real issue.
Hey, here's an idea. Remember, was it last year they had a memorial game for the Negro Leagues in Birmingham?
Yes.
I wonder if they could play there.
Hot and humid. You got the same set of circumstances in Birmingham. You're talking about Ricketts. I think it was Ricketts Field.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think so. The wild name that was floated is to me, but I don't understand how this is possible. Montreal. Olympic Stadium is still there, but it's still a cement old edifice. It hasn't had baseball since the Expos vacated more than a decade ago. So the Rays got a problem. And, you may say, well, Hacksaw, it's not even November 1st. Well, pal, spring training will be around the corner before you know it. And they got to put all these things in place. So, boy, they got some tough calls there. What are you doing with Ohtani and the batting order? And what are you doing with the Padre lineup card, John?
Okay, well, for the Padres, to me, Arise ideally is a number 2 hitter. Because I remember back in the 80s, remember the Padres had Alan Wiggins 1 and Gwynn 2. And Gwynn was the contact guys, like Arises. So I think if you can find Merrill, you made a suggestion as a leadoff, that's a good choice. There might be someone else, but Arise doesn't take enough walks to be a legitimate leadoff, in my opinion.
Doesn't take any walks.
Yeah, exactly. So that's part of the problem.
Granted, he doesn't strike out, but he swings at everything in all the area codes.
Yeah, he does. And I think that's okay as a number 2 hitter. So, I that's what I do with Arise. But as far as the Dodgers and Ohtani, we got killed. Padres got killed when, the guys at the end of the order, were getting on base all the time. And then Shohei came up and knocked them all in. So I think Dave Roberts has the right idea. And then he bats 5 times. But you said, put Will Smith in front of him. Last I checked, Will Smith was hitting under 100.
But he has been a leadoff hitter in the prior, and he's also got some power. Now, I don't know if Will Smith is the right guy. Maybe it's Mookie Betts, but then you got to have somebody batting second. You probably want Freeman hitting 3, and then you got Ohtani, because guy's going to be on base in front of him, Ohtani at 4. But boy, Dave Roberts is just, I hate to use the word stubborn, maybe more like your word I use for you, obstinate.
Opposite.
He doesn't want to have this discussion, but why not? Your guy is batting .000, 0 for 22, which to me is stunning.
Stunning. Yeah. But, they're still winning, so the, and plus you like to have the lefty righty thing kind of
Mhm.
going on. And I think you want to separate Ohtani and Freeman with at least one right-hander in the middle. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of what do they say? You're spoiled with riches. I mean, any way you go with Ohtani, you're going to be doing all right.
Okay, you're a baseball fan. Fans Forum chat box is open. Your comments on the Blight Sox, the homeless Rays. Who wants to talk Dodgers, like my hoodie? Who want to talk Padres, you like him in brown and gold? Feel free to pile in, pile on. I'm sure somebody's got some opinions, including the fashion critics who always reach out to us when the podcast is done. So we go from that.